Okay, it'll tell you that it's recorded in the top left-hand corner of your screen as well. So please be sure if you're on other Zooms that you actually that you check it out. Okay, if you're being recorded or not. There's some awesome functionality new to Zoom too, and we'll be doing a webinar on that very soon. Kind of a walkthrough because Zoom is new to me. I've been navigating it through these times to bring our programs virtual. So I would like to share that information. If you have questions about Zoom, please shoot them to me, okay? I will do my best to help you out because we're all navigating the space, and all of our programs are actually happening in the virtual space of Zoom currently. So we want to make sure that you have the ability to access it. I took a couple of individuals on our staff through it the other day, and although it seems kind of cumbersome at first, it is rather simple to get on and get familiar with. There's also some really cool integrations that I think that everyone should kind of know about, like Canva allows you to do a custom background. And if you were on some of our earlier Zooms, Eric Kearney, our president, would throw our logo behind him and that sort of thing. So it's really neat, the functionality of this as well. I'm Jordan Ivory. I'm the program director at the African American Chamber. Super excited for today's program. It is our last program of the week. Okay, so once we get ready to wrap up, I will tell you what we've got coming up next week. We are super excited about having programs virtually, and this week our attendance has been an all-time high. As we wrap this week up, I get to bring you one of my good friends, someone I've known for most of my life, Sean Freeman of Camp Central. We're going to be talking about team building, and I'll let him dive a little deeper into the title here in just a second. But please know that all of our programs are listed on our website, okay? Under the events tab, click on the calendar, okay? You will be able to see all the events that we have happening. We also have resources that will help you navigate during these times, okay, on our website. It will actually be the first page that populates when you log on. So be sure to check those out. The blue or maybe purple on your computer, click those links, okay? They're active links. We have a resource guide that is incredible, okay? It's large, so make sure that you're reading through it. There's a lot of resources that we're adding as well. We also are dropping daily tips and tricks and briefs, okay, from our president, CEO, Eric Kearney on YouTube. We are doing heavy programming, so we are not doing them every single day, but we are posting them on YouTube. So you can go find us on YouTube at African American Chamber, okay? You'll be able to see our programs as well as all the briefings from our president, Eric H. Kearney. Today, strap in, buckle up, because I give you the amazing, the talented Sean Freeman of Camp Central and FreeHype. Sean Freeman, I turn the mic over to you, my man.
Hey, I appreciate that introduction, man. That's very well, man, overspoken. It almost feels like, but now it's good to be here. Welcome everyone this evening to this conversation over team building. Just want to give you guys a quick run through, in this span or in this time frame as like, team building, relationship building, how to keep a team inspired, especially during these times that can be trying for everyone as far as employment and how everything goes. Bear with me as this Zoom is a little new to me, but I'm about to work it. Can everyone see my screen? Jordan, you can see my screen here? Okay.
Yes, sir, I sure can.
All right. So here's the agenda for today. We have the introduction, of course, by Jordan. We'll be going into the process into building teams, my process into building teams, kind of where my background and how I got to gain the experience and knowledge of team building that I've received so far. We're going to actually diving into at least 3 aspects of team building due to some time constraints for a day. But we'll be going into 3 aspects of team building, and then we'll have any questions as well as following with the closing as well. So, and feel free if you do have any questions, you can pop up at any time. If there's any comment you would like to make, I'm a pretty informal guy, but definitely like to keep everyone engaged. I want anyone to fall asleep over there on us, or just tune out. But let's get started. Believe we can get started. So first, just a little bit about me and myself. Trotwood alumni, grad, ran
Sean,
track.
Sean, I can't see your slides. If you have slides, I can only see your desktop right now. I don't want you to get too deep.
Okay, let's see here.
So when you go to your share screen, if you have that window open, if you go to the bottom part of your Zoom, go to share screen, and then click on the actual slideshow or image that you have up as well.
Portion of the screen. Optimize full screen. Is it showing it now?
It is not.
Okay.
Bear with us, guys, as we work this Zoom together. We in this together. We got to help each other through this. Okay, so let's see. What I can do is, let's stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
How you doing, Mr. Harmon? Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, now do it again. Click share screen again.
Yep.
Okay. See if you can open up your presentation from there.
Can you see it?
I cannot. Is it a PowerPoint?
It is. It's a keynote.
Oh, it's a keynote. Oh, you're fancy like our president, Eric Kearney. Okay, so maybe if you export it out as a PDF quickly, it should be able to pop up. Or if you just want to talk us through it or drop us a link to it.
Yep. And drop the link. Let me see if I share. Okay. But as I won't hold you guys up on the content. That slide was just a little bit about myself. Played football, ran track, and did choir as well at Trotwood Madison. Graduated 2010. That was pretty key to team building and just as far as learning how different teams work. As far as like to see the range of like a choir and how that team works as opposed to football, it's a lot more passive aggressive, a little bit in the approach, of course, to get everyone on board, to get all of those voices harmonized as far as in choir. Whereas in football, a lot of it is instinct, a lot of it is kind of going off of what you know. Studying the playbook, of course, is just as well as you would have to. Living in Atlanta definitely worked a lot of different jobs, and that within that company held a couple panel discussions along with that and with them. That was pretty great. Pretty great. Upon leaving God is Dope, went to work for Emerson Retail Solutions as a project coordinator. Learned a lot of great skills working corporate, and just recently moved back to Dayton, Ohio, here in 2019, where I've been working as a consultant, working with different small organizations and businesses to help provide marketing solutions for them, as well as just kind of different problem solving and coordination. Yeah. So kind of dive into the first aspect of team building. I really want to touch on the difference between a tight-knit working group versus loose-knit working team. With the tight-knit tight knit, working team. One of the things I learned and found out was that how to run shorter time frame projects, short time frame projects. So say if there was a lot of events that I was a part of, and one of the main guys that helped me along with that was Justin McLeod, is someone who I learned from a great deal. Justin was great at putting together teams for projects for short term. So say if there was an event coming up in, let's say, June, he will be able to, put together a team of, let's say, 6 to 7 people, all having their different roles, but running congruently. He would set up different forms of technology, and you guys can take note of these. Slack will be one. iMessage seems to be the best that works. If everyone does have an iPhone, iMessage definitely works great. And then GroupMe. GroupMe's are nice, a little bit less informal at times. You can share documents, links, anything, all within those separate chats. You can build out separate chats as well. So that's as far as working with the tight knit teams. You would definitely, they're very easy to build a chat, and you could replace someone, remove someone. Say if that project is over, they'll no longer have access to those documents. They will still have access to the documents that were available to them prior to. As well as some other ones. Microsoft Teams is huge, becoming huge now. That kind of works as a dual benefit for a lot of people. I loved it. Didn't get to work an entirely lot with it, but you were just able to build out a lot of different groups, was able to share documents, files, documents and files from your OneDrive folder, if that's what you were using as well. So just really a great experience working with Microsoft Teams. Yep. So as far as tight knit goes, that's the big key with that. Just one person who usually is running the whole show, kind of coordinating everyone, keeping them together, or loose. As far as working with a team that's more long term, that will be in Camp Central's case, working with VNN Sports. They handle our marketing. We have a marketing contract with Troutwood Madison that has been running from August 2019, and we'll finish up our first year of the contract in August of 2020. They're a very great team. They provide us unlimited, pretty much, kind of updates to our ad and flyer. They're always reaching out to me to see if I need to make any seasonal changes. We have an ongoing Excel spreadsheet where I can see all of our numbers, our clicks per share, what it's costing. We've garnered right now over 80,000 impressions so far with that website. So it's just been pretty sweet, been pretty awesome, been very beneficial for us. We've gained over 100 users in the App Store due to that marketing contract and partnership with VNN. Another long-term relationship that we built, and an example of a long-term team, would be with Trey Designs. Trey Hope is the coder for Camp Central. He provided all of the code. And working with him, we use apps such as Asana, project-based app. out of out of the App Store. I believe it's available in Google Play as well. That's allows you to kind of keep up with your teams, hold everyone accountable. You can assign tasks. You can move that task into being, from draft to working to done, completed. Just very great for us in building your app. And just knowing not to, it really kind of streamlined the communication because we are friends. And if you're going in business with friends, you know that it can be difficult to separate the personal from the business relationship. So um, definitely allowed us to not bug each other so much with updates, and we were just able to log into an Asana and check out the progress of things. Me being the owner and my vision for Camp Central, a lot of times my brain I would, nonstop and not understanding code. And, that goes for any team, maybe not understanding your teammates' full role. It's good sometimes to be able to have it in writing, to be able to see the progress of things, and it allows for that next meeting or the next conversation that you have for you guys both to be able to ask more in-depth questions to really get to the root of things at a much deeper level. I have a stat up here just as far as team building goals. 89% of HR leaders agree that ongoing peer feedback and check-ins are key for successful outcomes. So just making sure that during this time, especially if you haven't, making sure that you're checking in with your team, letting them know how you feel, asking them how they're doing, making sure that everyone is engaged is definitely a high key and of great importance as of right now. So on my screen, which I wish you guys could see, it's the 3 aspects of team building. And I'll send out a link to this presentation after we're done because Lord knows, Jordan, I don't know how to do that while we're presenting right now. We don't want to risk that at all either. But the 3 aspects of team building, which I have, are problem solving, delegation, as well as communication. So our first one, I have a picture up from a panel discussion at the entrepreneurship or the Entrepreneur Center that's in downtown Dayton off of West 4th Street. And it's myself along with Trey, the co-founder of Camp Central, Jordan Calhoun, the CEO, my life partner for Smooch Machielage, as well as William Henry, who designed the logos for all of our businesses and a lot of my businesses and collateral that I use. And problem solving as far as a team goes, just, relates to reaching out to someone, figuring it out in maybe not so much of the perfect manner. In this case, Jordan, even to have that workshop, a great thing was in having a team in this sense was I was in Atlanta, living in Atlanta at the time, didn't know how I would get up to Dayton to have the workshop or even if it would be enough time to promote. But, she gave me the go ahead and, the solution to just, hey, rent a car, take off that day from work, and let people know, get the video going and just reinstilling a lot of vision and purpose within me. And that helped. That helped a great deal and ended up being a great event, great turnout. sell out, and that was in collaboration with Launch Dayton, which they run now. Trey Hope will he will work nonstop to find different ways to make Camp Central better, to keep us up to speed with our technology. We've moved into using Flutter, which allowed us to distribute the app from the apps into the App Store and Google Play, which originally it took us an entire year to build it out in Google Play, another year into the App Store, and then he found the hack, or the technology hack, for us to be able to use Flutter. So that was super awesome, very much needed. And then along with Will, let's see, all right, you guys can see me. And along with Will, man, he was just a nonstop researcher, and someone who pushed me. So it's important to have people on your team that are going to push you to be better, always to find a solution, not always to just give you a solution. That can be pretty scary at times when someone just, is giving you information and maybe not, if you ask, not intrigued in helping you trying to build that skill yourself, definitely if you have the time. I have a quote here from Reid Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn. No matter how brilliant your mind or strategy, if you're playing a solo game, you'll always lose to a team. A lot of things, and one of the things that I learned or have recognized, and someone could comment if you feel differently, and moving back to Dayton, is that a lot of times people don't really understand the concept of team, and will be trying to move, it's a lot of I, me, and that will only get you so far, and sometimes you have to look back and see how far you've gotten by just moving with yourself and whatever that idea is, and see how that's working for you. So if you are a person that likes to work solo, definitely suggest getting a loosely knit team, a team that you can work for a certain project, whether that might be a service or just a seasonal time. Easter is coming up. The summer is coming up. If there's a project or a big service or contract that you have coming up during those times, highly suggest that you put together just a task force team to attack just that project. Next, I have a picture of myself and the owner of God is Dope at WeWork Atlanta during our fireside chat. Just to give a little perspective on God is Dope and his journey. He's a African-American male himself. He's 31 years old and runs $1 million business. To be able to see that business being created and ran from such a young incubation phase. As far as the company itself, the company is only, and I see we have a chat. The company is only about, what was this, 2024 years old, and started on the campuses of Morehouse, Clark Atlanta, Georgia State. To see such a humble brother work in the way of delegation. He was a cameraman himself, kind of started off as a cameraman amongst other skills, and use that as his focal point as far as marketing and media, but took that into the aspect of not trying to know everything, so you have interns, have people who were excited about taking one task or one part of the problem and allowing them to run ragged, to run amok per se with that task, not trying to be such a micromanager in that space. See, Eric Kearney says to everyone, Dayton brothers are strong. Seems like there's a strong entrepreneurial vibe originating from the Gem City. There certainly is. You know, it's something real special about this place for sure. And I'm excited about the work that I'm doing here since I've been back to continue that and keep it going stronger. But back to Sherrod and his delegating. One thing that I learned, and I'm sure everyone here on the call can agree to, is delegation is hard work as well, because when that job, you know, just because you empower someone to go knock out a task, if they don't do it correctly, it's an issue. And who are they coming back to? You know? So it's definitely doing your due diligence and making sure that that person can fulfill that order. But it's just, you know, like any other team, if that person drops the pass, you don't beat them up that first time. And then for two, you don't throw anyone in the game, you know, not in a clutch situation or just period for that matter, who you haven't seen at practice, you know. So just making sure that you really know the quality of your team's work and what they can do, and then not being afraid to let them see that big moment and see what they do with it, you know, because they definitely might surprise you. But one just cool stat that I want to throw out there, and then I'll move on to the next point. So God is dope, and the great thing that I was able to see with them, they would do things like, say, for April Fool's Day, they have this going out of business sale, right? And the code is April Fool's Day, of course. They sold shirts at the price, and they're cool shirts, you know, cool graphic shirts. Sold shirts at the price of $6.99 and made $600,000 this past April 1st. You know, so to be able to see that type of scale, when I was working there, we were probably doing like $30,000, $40,000 days, which was awesome to us. The majority of their business and all of their business right now during the times that we're in is online. So to see that type of production being put out was just like crazy. And we're talking about a 6-person team, you know, so that kind of goes to that tight knit theme. A lot of kids, everyone was under 30 who worked in that company, but my vision and what I see for us moving forward is being able to establish teams of all ages, you know, because I believe that that model can be replicated. The big thing that he had in it was that delegation piece, not allowing anyone to feel less than. If you were pressing shirts, you felt proud of, you know, how your shirts were made. You felt proud to see those shirts, you know, being worn out there. As a tour manager, I felt proud in knowing that when I drove that van to North Carolina, Indiana, Alabama, that, you know, I felt like we all had our own ownership in the company is how we felt. Although we own no equity, we definitely felt a pride equity, and that's something that you can instill in your teams. Next that I have here is 21% of highly engaged teams. This is according to Forbes.com. 21% of highly engaged teams show 21% greater profitability. So, you know, definitely want to keep your teams engaged and keep them in tune and focused. Next, I had a picture with my team at Emerson and some of the ladies from the project management department. Communication is huge. That's the third aspect here that we have. Communication is huge. And working with women was very enlightening, because I haven't worked with a team of majority women before, mainly males, just due to mentoring groups and the different constructs that we kind of separate ourselves to. But the one important and key factor that I learned was that we do need all voices within a team. So if you don't have a team, depending on what your mission and goal is enabled to, but I suggest everyone to have all genders, all races a part of that team, because it allows for a much more, you can speak to a broader perspective, a broader audience, and really hone in and nail pretty much everyone, when you're speaking, and just brushes up you as to maybe some common themes that you didn't know were there. And unless that gender or less that race is being represented in that conversation, it's tough to know exactly what is going on in that situation. So definitely have to make sure that is being handled, and just making sure that you understand everyone's best communication. One thing that I learned in communicating is in building Camp Central was that I had to learn how to speak technically, which was pretty tough for me. I'm a very informal person. I would much rather call you than to text you. But in explaining my vision for, to build an entire mobile application, especially from scratch, it wasn't something that I could just verbalize. So I had to learn how to send documents in a way of user will click this link and it will take them to this page, and I have to speak in that way and write it out in that way for a good bit of time. I would say probably easy, maybe 6 to 8 months. But after as we began to go along, Trey began to much more understand what my language was, and I was able to speak it to him in a better way too. So if I were to call him or to shoot him a text message informally, I would still be able to speak in a jargon that was tech related and made it very easy for him to translate into or manifest, into the physical reality as to making that app kind of do what it needed to do and perform the way that it needed to perform. My last stat here that I have is 70% of employers have improved their physical environments to encourage healthy behaviors, as reported by Forbes.com. One thing that is huge along with this, of course, is health, especially during these times. I felt that pretty important, just with the times that we're in, to remind ourselves to stay healthy, remind our team to stay healthy. So, say, for example, I took a conference call this past Sunday, and just try and always showing my team, leading by example, letting them know and showing them, that I'm doing it myself and just keeping that conversation going. But had the conference call, and shortly after, the business was handled and we were just kind of talking in general, was shooting the basketball outside, or maybe cutting weeds and my team members noticed that and they're like, yo, you're outside, or man, like, okay, man, I need to, go for a jog. Or it begins the conversation of, I did go for a jog maybe 2 to 3 times last week or worked out, but I can up it, this upcoming week. So just establishing a healthy competition, obviously that was speaking to a physical environment, which we don't have right now. But in the midst of just, speaking on letting your team members know maybe a healthy meal that you ate, just about your diet that you're taking, and really just bringing it back to the core and essential of our being, which we are which we all are as humans, you know, we're all humans. So connecting on a human level really allows your team, it allows you to speak to the soul and can get them to, you know, get them and yourself to do work that you may not have found, you know, imaginable. But that's all for my time today. If anyone had any questions, you could, of course, hop on the visual aspect of it, or you could drop it in the chat right here, either directly to myself or to everyone.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. Great information.
Zone, my brother.
You know, I think that,
that's love.
yeah. So, you know, I think that,
definitely got moms. Jordan, I think you might still be muted.
Oh, am I muted? Can you hear me now?
No, I can't hear you now.
Can anybody else hear me? No?
I hear you.
Oh, okay. Lamar hears me. Sean, can you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you can hear me now? Okay, awesome. So thank you, Sean. I really appreciate it, man. This was phenomenal. Does anybody have any questions for Sean before we tie up?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
Sean, so you've been a part of many different teams. I've known you since the Alabama State days, and watching your progress and watching your journey. So my question for you is, when you're finding yourself being thrown into a new team or putting together a new team, what are some of the difficulties you see, and how do you navigate that space? Do you find yourself being the one to be more versatile and kind of mold into whatever the team needs, or do you try to make the team fit who you already are?
Great question. Great question. That's man, usually lately I've been much more in a seeing where the team can use me, you know, of course. So definitely being able, trying not to be a know-it-all, because being a consultant, my job is to kind of know it all or find an answer, you know. So the most difficult part to answer that aspect is to come in and maybe see something that I may think is a quick or small fix, but not knowing the depth of why that hasn't been done yet, you know. So, but by stepping back, you know, asking questions, kind of really just adapting to their pace and them getting to know me, then I find it a lot easier for me to kind of ramp it up and, you know, begin to kind of be who I am, should I say, in that aspect. Unless, you know, as a consultant or depending on that position, they brought me on to do that, you know?
Okay, great.
Yep. Great question.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us today, Lamar. We really appreciate that too, man.
No problem. No problem.
So, anybody else have questions for Sean before we wrap up? Want to make sure we get those in before we do anything else? Okay. All right. Well, Sean, do me a favor. Drop your email in the chat for me while I tie things up, so that way individuals can get connected with you. Please, if you would like to connect with Sean and can't grab it from the chat, email me and I will connect you to Sean, okay? I would definitely make sure that connection happens. Again, my name is Jordan Ivory, Program Director. If you've joined us after we started at the African American Chamber, we are still doing programs virtually. So we're not in our offices currently. We are all working from home. However, we have remote access to everything that we do inside of our office. So if you need us, please call 513-475-7140 is my direct dial. And I got a cheat for our whole office number. So please don't judge me, because I typically just give out my number. Okay, so our office number is 513-751-9900. I should have knew that. Okay, so 513-475-7140 if you need to get a hold of me. Check us out online, okay? We're in a lot of different spaces right now, YouTube, as well as all the social medias, all right? Check us out, African American Chamber on YouTube. We're dropping stuff daily. We also have programs, okay, that are happening daily that are getting posted as well to our website. So please check us out, subscribe, like, okay? It helps us a whole bunch. We have a great lineup of programs next week. Okay, please make sure that you join us, and I will not hold you up with my long spiel about programs that are happening next week, but they're all on our calendar. Okay, so go to African-American Chamber.com. Okay, and click on the events tab, click on the calendar. You'll be able to see all the great things that we have happening next week. Check us out on social media, guys. We really have a lot of stuff that's happening. So when you want the visual aspect and you're not an email kind of person, okay, or you're not a website goer, all right, a lot of us aren't. We like to get our news from social media. So please make sure you check us out on all of our social medias. RSVP for our events. We love to have you. Share them out for us too. This program was important to me because Trotwood, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio has gone through tremendous tragedy since 2019. And being from Dayton, Ohio, it truly, it hurts when you go back home from Cincinnati even and seeing it firsthand that things still haven't changed almost, a year later. And so Sean Freeman is a phenomenal individual that is not only working inside the entrepreneur space and in the consultancy space, but is also working behind the scenes with Trotwood Madison High School outside of his stuff with FreeHype. He doesn't always toot his own horn. He sits on the Parks and Recs board in Trotwood, Ohio. And Trotwood has been going through a long undergoing for a long time. So bridging that gap, coming together as African Americans in this community and helping Black-owned businesses make things happen across 75, I think is super important. Of course, for the Greater Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Chamber, and Sean has attended multiple of our events. And we really appreciate that too. And he shared with me multiple times that he was taking back the information that he got from us back to Dayton to help increase the awareness and things that he would like to see happen in his own space. So Sean, we thank you for being supportive, being active, and being intentional with the way that you're moving with the African American Chamber and with Dayton, Ohio, and stretching arms out across Ohio in general.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. I definitely do. And everything that you guys are doing at the chamber is amazing. To have this platform here in Ohio means a lot. And I'm looking forward to, once we're able to get outside again, to definitely be able to, bridge this gap. And in the meantime, continue to bridge this gap, virtually. For sure.
Most definitely. So thank you so much for coming, guys. If you have questions, please reach out to us, okay? All of our information is on our website. And again, my direct dial is 513-475-7140. If you need us, please make sure that you reach out. If you are a member of the chamber and you have not received a call from us, please reach out to me too. I want to know how you're doing, how your business is doing, okay? If the chamber can be of service to you and find out ways that we can help. Okay, we want to make sure we're here for our members. We have great stuff happening. We have another webinar happening at 1 o'clock with the regional chamber, I do believe. Okay, so please make sure that you're following us. I'd be remiss if I did not shout out my team that joined us here today as well. I have my wonderful transformative initiatives and sponsorships person, Christy Clement Williams, on the line with us today too from the African American Chamber. So if you know about the chamber, you definitely know about Christy. She does great things for us, and we are super excited about hopefully getting back to being in the physical space, right? So we can do even larger things. And I also have my president, CEO, Eric H. Kearney, on the line with the Bengals in the background. I shout out Eric all the time because he's doing phenomenal things with the chamber. And it truly, it takes an entire team, but a strong, solid leader, right? So I really appreciate you hitting on those things today, Sean. I really feel blessed to be at the chamber. John Harmon and I were talking about it just the other day. We're doing great things in our community and for Cincinnati. If you need us, reach out to us. We're here for you, okay? We'll talk to everyone soon. Please make sure you reach out. Enjoy your weekend. See you on Monday.
Hey, take care.
See you, John.
Okay.